everyone, it's me, Renita, Be Your Own Kind, the blog, the podcast. I thought that it would be more personal to start doing videos to give a recap of my posts or anything that was on my mind. Thinking about vlogging, but I don't know. I feel like vlogging and blogging are kind of redundant, but we'll see. Because I like to ramble, I did write down the things I want to talk about in my cute little journal. We are all stars, Marilyn Monroe. That's the diva. Anyway, I've been doing a lot of research on YouTube and videos and different types of equipment. Right now, I'm all makeshift everything, but I have to start, so you have to start somewhere, and I'm really excited. I'm working on consistency this year. I spoke with a media consultant, which I'm very, very excited to join with. She's super dope, and she talked about consistency, which we all know that when you're consistent with anything, success cannot come without being consistent, pretty much. So I'm working on that and connecting with you guys. Just so much that I want to do with my platform, but I have to start at step A. Can't go all the way to Z and haven't completed A. So that's just where we're at with that. Just for a week, just basically just researching, working my 9 to 5, thinking of ways and to branding and ways to interact with you guys more on social media. Thinking of a little question segment. I used to send questions and post questions on a daily, and that kind of stopped, so I do want to start that back up. I was trying to think of like a catchy little phrase for like a question segment, and maybe eventually transition it into a live on YouTube. So I think that would be pretty cool on Instagram, whatever. This week was also thinking about energy. I was thinking about resentment, and I asked my uncle, was resentment an energy? And he agreed that it was an energy. And what made me think about that is sometimes we think we're forgiving someone, we think that we're over it, and even though we've convinced ourselves that we are, and we just pushed it, all the way to the basement of our minds, can that person still feel that energy? Like, can people feel unspoken energy? And the conclusion is energy recognizes energy. Spirit recognizes spirit. So of course, if your flesh is convincing your mind that you don't feel a certain way, or you just feel like you move past it, energy doesn't lie. So I think that even if the person is not cognizant, or conscious of this resentment, their subconscious and their spirit can still feel that resentment. So for instance, if you're with a person and you're wondering why they've wronged you in the past, and then you're wondering like why they're not connecting with you or drawing closer to you, it could possibly be that their spirit is recognizing some resentment from the past, and it's not allowing their flesh to move forward. Like, it's weird. It's deeper than I'm explaining it, so that's why I just want to do more reading on it and pray for a better understanding about it. But just on the shallow end of this is what I was thinking about during the week. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. So let me know your thoughts on energy, or if you agree, or if you are like a super guru about energy and the transference of energies. Just let me know your thoughts on it, and we can chat on it. I love conversation, so anyone that presents an idea or just want to go back and forth, I'm all for it. I'm all about that. Okay, so moving forward. So once again, I am the creator of Be Your Own Kind platform. My website is beyourownkind.com. My podcast is BYOK, Be Your Own Kind Podcast. It's found on Anchor and Spotify and Breaker and RadioCast and RadioPublic on Facebook. If you would like to be a guest blogger or a guest on the podcast, reach out to me. You go to the website. You'll hit contact me at the top of the menu, and there's a little bar even talking about topics you want me to speak on, things of that sort. So connect with me. I'm all about connection. This is what it's all about. Connecting with others. You know, it's more than just saying, you know, preaching about, oh, you need to be your own kind. No, it's not like I've arrived. You know, like I am still on my own personal journey. I'm still getting into me. And I don't know if you are following me on social media, I did post a post saying this year I just want to be. And it seems like that's not a lot of energy, but it does take a lot of energy to be you in a world where it's not celebrated. You know, and I might have said this again before, but there are a lot of people out there that are committing suicide. There are a lot of people out there that are depressed and just can't move on with life because they feel like they can't be them, you know, and a lot of people can blame it on, well, you know, you got to snap out of it. There are some things you just can't snap out of. And even when you are working hard and fighting for, you know, to have positive energy and fighting to do the things that you want to do and the things that you believe in, sometimes you have a circle that says things and those words sow seeds into your spirit, and you start to believe them. You start to believe the naysayers. You start to believe the negative. Then we all have thoughts that come through our head that are false and artificial, and they're not real. And that voice is always pointing out your past mistakes, what you could have did better, or if you could have did this right or did this right. And, you know, this year's bump all that, you know, like the time is now. Now is what matter. Yesterday is gone. It's a waste of time to sit and dwell on yesterday. What's the point? It's over. What counts now is now. You know, you made that mistake yesterday. You learn a lesson from that. You know, basically you keep what's beneficial for you to keep you pressing forward, you know, and not to make the same mistakes again. And even if you do make the same mistakes again, it's a different lesson in it each time. I've went in a circle on a million things, and each time I've went around that circle, I came out with something else. And sometimes I feel like that's how life works, where God just have you go through this circle until you learn everything that he wants you to learn. Like it's every negative thing that happened is not, and I would say no, not any negative thing that happened is really a negative. It's a positive if you learn from it. There are things that happen, you know, in life that just knock us, you know, off our tail, but when we get back up, we come back stronger. And of course, when you're going through it, it feels like hell, but when you get out of it, you just like, I was stronger than I thought. And then you'll come across the person who's going through that same exact thing, or if not similar. And you can tell them, hey, when I went through this, I did this and this didn't work. See, that's what it's about. It's touching a person. It's not watching a person going through the same mistakes you're going through and watching them fall. No, that's not what we do. That's what that whole fixing crowns and, you know, like iron sharpens iron. If I see you're going through something similar, for instance, I, you know, went to college. So if I see a college student and it seems like they just doing things just backwards, you know, I feel like it is my human responsibility to say, hey, no, you don't do it that way. Because when I did that, this is the way. That's the whole thing. And I feel like that is the whole responsibility of for the youth, like for the people older than them, to stop them. Like whether they listen or not, it's still your responsibility to tell them the information. Now, what they do with the information, okay. But I would rather give the information to the person and they not listen than watch that person, then the other way around, like watch that person fall and knowing that I could have helped them, you know. So off my soapbox. So the first post that I had today or this week was a book review of the book Residue, Surviving and Overcoming the Stains of Generational Curses and Soul Ties, written by Debbie L. London. Check her out. I have the link to her book and to her Facebook page all in that post. It's a very very great book. You know, this not to change the subject, but this little bright light is making everything look green. Anyway, so so yeah, it's a very, very informative book. I do highly recommend you read this book, especially if you feel like you're going in circles or you're stuck or you see similarities from your ancestors, you know, and you just don't quite understand. Like that's what drew me to it, because I read about strongholds in the Bible, and I hear about generational curses and what happened down the family line, and then I see similar habits and things that I'm battling, and what she calls those things are hand-me-downs. You know, these some things that we've inherited. We haven't caused it or put it upon ourselves. And yes, we do create our own curses, but some things are just like we inherit the good, we inherit some of the bad. And that's why she refers to them as, you know, overcoming the stains, you know, because those things leave a mark. They leave a bruise, you know. And she presented a lot of techniques and, you know, and a lot of ways to overcome them. And this is nothing that you overcome overnight, you know, because you think Satan is happy that you're breaking, you know, a bond that's pretty much that could have just been holding your family back for years, you know. No, it takes a lot of prayer. It takes a lot of reading. It takes consistency for real, you know, especially if you have like mental illness, addiction, things of that sort that you're dealing with. It takes a lot of effort, you know, and especially people who have children, you know, is even more important, because you don't want that to permeate into their lives, you know, because if you don't stop it with them, if they don't stop it with them, then it just keeps going, even when you're long and dead. So it's a very powerful book. I recommend it. It's thought-provoking. At the end of each chapter, there are questions, a recap, you know. Towards the end, she even have you construct a prayer, and there's even a prayer that I wrote for myself that I read on a daily, and it helps me, you know, feel better. And talking with family members, like, talk with your family members. If you have a family member that's open to tell you something about your, you know, your family tree. One thing I learned about the Black culture is it's all a secret, you know. Like, there are some really major things that has happened. I remember when I was watching Survivor and R. Kelly, how they were saying, you know, he was molesting. It was hush hush, like everybody knew about it. Like his grandfather was molesting his mom and this and that, and it's like, and it's hush hush. So if granddad's not stopped with mom, then granddad goes to grandkids, and or mom is molesting. Not saying this is not R. Kelly, but mom is molesting someone, and then it goes down to okay, now R. Kelly, you know, the stuff that he has done, you know. It's like it trickles down if it's not stopped, you know. And because who knows if his mom is instilling in his kids, don't do that, because we have no idea of the activities of his children or what they went through, or their psyche or their mental health, you know. Like if it doesn't stop, that stain is there, and it's up to the parent to pray that off, you know. But this is getting deep. Read the book. Once again, the link, it can be found on Amazon, and she also has a website that is listed on our Facebook page, which is in the post of that the post that I published on BYOK.com. So the second thing I posted this week was a blog challenge. It was supposed to be 31 days. It's turning into 51, 61, 71 days. Anyway, the questions were about fears and my ideal daily routine and my dream job. I always wanted to be like an international food critic. I mentioned that when I found out I developed a shellfish allergy. That was pretty much over for that, because it's like it kind of restricts what I can try. I talked about how I stopped writing for a while, especially when I was in college. I mean, you got to write all those papers, so I never kept going with perfecting my craft. So now I'm just trying to sharpen up my skills. You know, I'm a work in progress, you know. I'm reading ways, you know, I try to edit myself more and this and that. But on my blog, it's just a huge diary, and it's just all the things that are in my mind, which is a lot, that I just like to share. I don't try to be too politically correct. I am who I am. I'm just being, you know. So it was like, Sid, and how else can I sharpen my skills if I don't write? So writing for my blog, and I journal a lot and things of that sort, and reading is a good way to help with that too. So fuzzy. Yeah. And I talked about my fears, which is pretty much, gaining my definition of success, because success is subjective, right? And losing it all. But it's like, if you are afraid to try, how about you reach the success? Because you could possibly, or I, speaking to myself, can possibly maintain that success or go beyond what I even wanted to accomplish. But if it stays in the mind, a dream is just a dream, if you don't act upon it. So, I'm just learning to live outside my head. When you living in your head and you're thinking, hey, I want to do this, do that, you're not really living in reality. You're living in your head, and it's a carnival in there sometimes, so just trying to be present. Like I said, things like that sound easier said than done, but life is worth living. We only get one of these unless we're actually reincarnated. I don't really know about that, but today in my mind and my beliefs, we only get one of these lives. So why not live it to the fullest, So the third post is actually for my podcast. It's mini-sode number 4. Please look out for new episodes every Thursday. And I will also be interviewing people. I'm very excited. I have a list of people I want to interview. A lot of people I'm going to ask, and hopefully I get more yeses and nos this year. I kind of ran into some snags when I've asked people to interview, and either schedule conflict, things of that sort. So I'm just looking forward to the interviews and the people that are happy to be a part of my platform. So I'm excited. I can't wait to share with you guys. And some of these people are dear to me. Like last year, like my first podcast ever was my mom and how she bought a house. It was so cool. And then my high school best friend, Asha, we were talking about authenticity and can you overshare, your feelings. Like, this is like the world we're in now is, are there limits to oversharing? But you can check that out. It was a pretty cool podcast. I had a lot of about transparency. That's because transparency is also subjective, because there's some things we might not want to share, some things we don't. Like, we kind of control the narrative of what we want people to know. So we can say, hey, I'm being transparent, and it's just our edition of it. Like, it's just a truncated version of what we really are, or how we really feel about something. Like, can transparency come at a cost where you're too transparent and then people like running from you because you're too much? Like, as with anything, balance is important. I wouldn't walk up to a stranger and tell her my whole life. It's levels. So that was a good podcast. That's beyond the subject, but the podcast that I posted was Same Goals, New Perspective. I talked about 3 new perspectives that changed my viewpoint. I have these goals, and if you've been following me, I've been working on my health and trying to lose weight, and the more I tried, the more I gained, the more I got discouraged, things of that sort, and I'm blaming this person, blaming that person. But one of my perspectives was accountability. We don't talk about that a lot, right? It's this, it's that, it's society, it's blah, but no, society is not putting the wrong things in my mouth to eat. Society is not saying, don't you exercise. Yes, it's body positivity. It's all about loving who you are, where you're at. I agree with that, but body positivity and health, I feel like it goes hand in hand, because if you're okay, yes, you're okay. You're loving who you are. I get it. But if you, like me, aches and pains and can't breathe and all this extra stuff, and the doctor is saying, man, all you gotta do is, lose some weight so you can be healthy. I feel like that's a part of body positivity. Like, I love myself so much, who I am, but if I can improve on some things, I love myself enough to make those improvements, so I think that, and I have something written about that, so I don't want to go too in deep, so it'll be too in depth because I don't want it to be too redundant, but I wrote about that, because Lizzo, Jillian Michaels, people jumped on Jillian Michaels, but she's a health expert, and I kind of put it on the interviewer because why on earth would the interviewer bring Lizzo up to a health advisor or personal trainer, whatever she is? Like, why would she do, like, it's almost like she set her up because her brand is health, so she can't like hone in on being confident, and overweight. Like, that contradicts everything her brand is about. And Jillian tried to transition the conversation to her music. I just feel like she was set up, and I don't know the interview protocol for celebrities, but I wonder if she could have just been like, the music is great, and then if then it would have made the interviewer look like a jerk had she asked more questions about her body. Like, I feel like she should have set the interviewer up because, I feel like that's the only way she could have got out of that. Everybody was like, damn she do, damn she don't. But I feel like, if it caught her so off guard. Okay, and so the last thing is, I got off subject. So the last thing is pretty much the future of just what I want to do with my platform. I want to do more. I want to do scholarships. I want to do events. I want to do this. I want to do that. Things cost money. So my goal is to monetize my blog. I do have the little message that talks about if you want to donate. Hey, I'm not obligating anyone. I know we all have hard-earned money, but if you do believe in, not even believe in me, but just follow me and rock with me, a dollar here, dollar there, it all adds up, to help my platform. Just sharing the information, like sharing my content and following me and things of that sort, and sharing your comments and stuff, like that's dope. I just read from or heard from another podcaster how women have a hard time asking for donations and men do not. I don't know if it's just how women are reared, where it's just impolite to ask for help. Like, I don't know where that come from, but she made a very, very excellent point with that. So I'm just saying, if you want to donate, you can. If you don't feel obligated. I'm looking for merchandising, looking to add merchandise and stuff to the platform. But once again, it's levels to things, so I've been blogging for 2.5 years, and this is when I'm just trying to take my platform to another level, so if you just want to rock with me for a while, see what I'm about, see if my transparency is genuine, like we talked about. There are some people out there that just want to help others, so if you can help me help someone else, or help me build my platform, also, I just want to say I enjoyed this video. It's supposed to be, a certain amount of time, so hopefully I didn't go too long. I will be posting some things on YouTube, so I do ask you to follow me, subscribe. It is Be Your Own Kind, as with anything. So just follow me there and see what types of things I post, and just, so just thank you for your time. And this is my first full video, and I'm super excited, and I think I stayed on subject, so I'm gonna keep this book with me. Also, before I leave, I also want to, I hope this is not backwards. I don't know, it looks backwards in the camera, but if it is backwards in the camera, this is my next book that I'm reading, Rachel Hollis, Girl Stop Apologizing, a shame-free plan for embracing and achieving your goals. So look out for a book review, possibly by the end of the month or early February. How many pages is this? It is about 212, so I probably can read this in about a day or two if I dedicate myself. So anyway, if you have any comments or You have any feedback, please let me know. Any topics you want me to cover, anything like that. Well wishes, gripes, constructive criticism is always welcome, because I'm winging this, you guys. I really am. And any constructive criticism is phenomenal. Until next week, enjoy your weekend. It's MLK Day on Monday. We all know who Martin Luther King Jr. is. We most of us will know who he is. You know, let's embrace his legacy, you know, with respect, and think on him, you know, on that day. We're not where we want to be, but we have come a very long way, you know. And I just like the fact of his non-violent approach to things, because all violence only equals more violence, you know. And yes, that's hard to say when you see so many attacks on African Americans, you know, and it makes you mad, it pisses you off, you know, right? But what does that solve? You know, we get angry, someone kill us, we kill them back. What did that solve? You know, and when that goes back to the curse, you know, you kill someone, they revenge, and then revenge, you got 1 million Black kids dead, because that's really how it is. And I'm from Chicago. That's really how that goes, you know. And it has to stop somewhere. You know, we have ancestors that have provided a great example. We do. And we just need to follow that, you know. Just, and Black History is coming up, you know. Study your culture for real. And, you know, I thought that I knew, you know, the history. And then I read the Willie Lynch letter for the first time, like last month. And I was just like, what is this? And then, you know, and then I'm learning that, you know, we were royalty at first, but then we decided to help another group of people. And next thing you know, they made us slaves, and then that slave mentality just went down generation to generation. And Willie Lynch, this is how you keep our Black boys down. This is how you keep our Black girls this. And once again, it's levels to all of this. So the change starts with you. And it's not always about being famous or being seen and things. It's if you could just touch one person. My pastor says that all the time. If you could just touch one person, be the change, whether someone is watching you or not. Just be the change. So I'm off my soapbox. I'm leaving for real this time. Until next week. See you then. Bye-bye.